I guess if anybody's interested in my perspective on New York City, I'll give it to them. I'm originally from Syracuse and spent many years there. And I think the bottom line for me is fuck New York City, because the short answer is that they slowly and ineffably and probably in a calculated manner corrupted the entire rest of the state of New York for their benefit, you know? And this has been happening for, I don't know, the moment that New York City was created, I think. And so this influence that New York City is having, or has had rather, over many, many centuries, has left Syracuse and Buffalo and probably Rochester, all those cities that could be very well and prosperous were it not for the sucking of the New York City taxes away from them. All of those places are some of the poorest in the nation. There was a survey that just came out that said Syracuse, Buffalo, and Cleveland were the small, medium, and regular-sized cities that were the poorest, all of them, right around that lake area there. Anyway, so a lot of people bitch about New York Jews, and you know, I'm a Jew from New York State, upstate. Like, I couldn't be more different from them, I think, philosophically and in reality, compared to the New York Jews. I mean, my experience with them is that I don't want to have an experience with them, okay? I just don't understand them. It's not that I don't like them, but they're just not my people. I'm not their people. We keep each other separate, and it works beautifully that way, which is why I'm in Oregon. There's no Jews here. So if you want to move to a state with the fewest number of Jews, Oregon, Washington, Montana would be a really good one. Anyway, so back to New York City. So my earliest memories of New York City are there being piles of garbage in the street with extremely poor black people sweating out in the summer heat, just hanging out on their porches. And I also remember the subway, which was filthy and full of men waving their penises at children. So that's kind of really what I think about New York City, is that I think it's full of disgusting people, just about everybody, who for some reason voluntarily lives in the squalid, horrible conditions that they do, and allow them to be controlled by greedy idiots, you know? And so you're seeing that effect of New York City and Wall Street and all that sort of thing on the rest of the nation. And it's not necessarily that they in New York City, the space Jews who live there, are actually the ones in control. It's just that formula that was set when New York City had enough influence to basically destroy what good could possibly come from upstate New York. It feels like Washington is doing that now to the rest of the country, you know? And I don't mean like the people of Washington, like the people who actually live in Washington, they're fine. I'm talking about the politicians. And so I think we all see that Washington is having the same effect on the country as a whole as New York City did on Syracuse and Buffalo and all those places like that. And so I guess that's my stance. And if you ask me about New York City, I generally have a very negative view about it because it's never done really anything for me, and I'm going to guess that nobody has really, you know, except for those who like theater and crap like that, who pretend that there's some sort of culture that exists there, and it's not just a bunch of sick people who happen to live together in these horrible, awful, squalid conditions. And the only reason why people live in New York City is because they know somebody else is probably suffering a little bit more than they are, and they love that fact. They just love the fact that somebody's poorer and more unhappy than they are. And that's why they live together like that. That's what New York City is to me. So once again, fuck New York City. You know, fuck Boston. Not necessarily the team, but the people who live there. And they know who they are. All right, I'll stop there. If you want some other opinions of mine, feel free to make a comment and call me retarded. That would be fantastic. All right, bye. Eat your veggies, hug your wife. Bye.